Yo!
Yayo Talk Show!
Dreamin'!
Don't give it up, Molly.
Dreamin'!
Don't give it up, Marco.
Dreamin'!
Don't give it up, Katie.
Dreamin'!
Al's name didn't fit. They talk about the show, this group of four friends been going for a million years, there's no end. Watching every arc and saga, no sleep. It's the king of anime, 1,000 episodes deep.
Yayo! 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 Talk show!
Talking about One Piece.
It's the name of the podcast.
We're not on Vine. Yayo Talk Show. Talking about
One Piece.
What's up, wenches, privateers, and non-binary buccaneers? Welcome aboard the most chaotic theory corner on the Grand Internet. We're back at Port Predictions because we're all caught up. And again, here's the skinny on that. We're literally all caught up. Stuff we're going to talk about now is stuff that is actively out in the world as the most recent up-to-date episode, like both episodes and in the manga. So if you're not caught up in the manga and you're just watching the anime, you should probably be reading the manga because some stuff just happened and the world is shaken. But before we get to that, let's introduce you to the rest of the Chrono Pirates, starting with the captain, Molly D. Simpy.
Hi.
It's a great little intro, Molly. That's very
Hi,
nice.
it's me.
Very
Hi.
nice. That's great.
I'm here.
Molly.
Hi, Al.
Our resident, you know
Hi,
what?
Rick.
Our resident Laughborg, Al McClellan Jr.
Hi. I'm also here.
And the internet's Mark B. Donica.
Hi.
I don't know if I like this energy that's happening
Thanks,
now.
little dog.
Yes. Oh no.
Stop it. Don't bring it into the
Don't bring
episode.
that here.
Ugh.
I'm a little dog. Oh wait, no. That means I'm just a little guy.
Hi.
You know, too bad. Now that's got to be a sound bite.
guy.
That's going to be a sound clip.
Just a little guy.
So, hey, it's been a minute. We haven't done a port predictions in a while, and also we haven't recorded in a little bit. We've been really working on our D&D show, Darcy Rolls, which you should check out. And also, we have a post show that is Patreon exclusive. And we have all sorts of other stuff. By the way, we launched a Patreon. Please, we love you. Please, we love you. We love you.
Make
We
sure
love
you
so
pay for
much.
the Molly tier so you get the 3 a.m. posts about me thinking about Garp.
Molly wants to know if you guys would subscribe for Salad ASMR.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
that
know what that
too.
is.
That's a
I don't
different
know what
tier.
that is. We can theorize about what the hell that is. If
That
we'd like
is
to do that
tier
today.
spelled T-E-A-R.
Yeah, no.
It's me eating salad in the Yayo meeting.
So chapter what? 1113 is the most recent one.
That's
Yeah.
the one that just came out this past week.
The one that just came out this past week. The world is sinking. The world is sinking, which has been a very popular theory for a while now, apparently. They've done a lot of good hints about that. Hey, don't skip Skypiea. Don't.
And after
if
that.
some I mean, yes, but like that's like the big first thing of just like, hey, there's a lot more of like pointing at the land masses shifting around and things not being how they were, even fairly recently in history. And they've hinted at it quite a bit. So I guess no, go for it, please.
My favorite thing that's come out of the fandom after this chapter is everyone being like, it's so obvious. Like, why didn't we think about it? It's who is the doctor on the Oro Jackson?
Crocus.
Yeah, it's like
Crocus,
he
yeah.
makes a house in a whale, and then Rayleigh starts a business in coating ships. It's like it was right there.
They knew the whole time.
Yeah.
Crocus was just like, I'm building my house on a whale. Don't
In a
bother me.
whale.
Good
In
In
a
a
whale.
whale. Inside.
Inside.
So I guess I want to like ask the obvious question to start us off, to really like get this process going, get everybody's brains kickstarted. How fast do you think the world is going to start sinking in front of our eyes starting now? Because it's been a passive thing and a thing that people have been hinting at, but not necessarily like with absolute like visual, because we're probably going to get some throwbacks to like history of just like, oh wow, this, but like how fast do you think it's going to sink? Yes.
Caden.
Yes.
Hey, remember when the space laser blew Leluja off the map
Yep.
and the water level rose?
1
Yeah.
meter by 1 meter.
It's been... So there are who knows how many islands that have existed that the military has wiped from history.
Yes.
And that power grab... I think one of the things in the Void Century that will be revealed is how mass of an extermination the government took in eliminating as many countries that didn't fall in line as possible. That they could find, I guess. And that through history leading to what eventually is going to sink the world, except for the red line.
Yeah. That makes sense to me. Like, I
A
mean,
great
like, there's-
cleansing.
Really.
Yeah, it's just gonna be. The thing is like it's been rising for a while. Like it's been going. But do you think we're going to get to a point where that's going to be the emergency?
I think definitely.
An emergency in terms of what? Sorry.
In emergency in a sense of plot relevancy. Like, is this just world flavor context in the sense of the government's been basically drowning the planet the entire time and so on and so forth? Or do you think this is going to take plot relevance in the sense of it's going to become a key focal thing that unless something else happens, the world, by the time XYZ happens, it will all be underwater? Like, are we on borrowed time already, do you think?
I think definitely. I think as we get closer to like the dragons and the threat of the power shifting in any way that they don't like, it's over. It's game over, man. And like they can decide to take out an entire island and raise the sea level by a meter. That, like, think of how many meters have been there since like the underwater section of Wano. Like, how many meters deep is the well of Wano? Like, people used to live at the basin. Like, that's...
Yeah.
The thing is, with that, at least the water that filled in, that's rainwater, because they built a wall outside the perimeter to keep. But then it's like to the tip of that now is where the ocean is. But the actual town itself is like filled with rainwater. I had a thought. Now I forgot it.
Do you want to think about it for a sec?
Yeah, go for it, Mark.
I think there will be a little bit more relevance because now that, depending on what else Vegapunk is going to reveal, the government doesn't need to be secret about it anymore, and it's gonna be the new ticking clock.
Well, that's honestly what I'm worried about because, like, if they're gonna kill everyone anyway, and now everybody knows it, like, what's the point in waiting? Like, now I'm a little worried that, like, they're gonna speed up the timetable of whatever it was. Because it was a difference between, we'll get there eventually, and then now it's like, well, they know now, so, you know...
Exactly.
And the thing I was trying to remember just now is that I do want to reiterate the celestial dragons. What clothes do they wear?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Wear a scuba suit.
Underwater diving.
Well,
Yeah.
They do be wearing helmets with oxygen tanks on those. So
Yeah.
I think it's a problem.
So I think
Yeah.
I think that's another question is how long have
How
the celestial dragons known that this was going to be the eventuality? And because I entirely think that they've been trying to literally build staff of the like best slaves waiting for this event to happen. Because
So-
why does the rest of the world need to know?
I don't think the celestial dragons know because, like, I think it's now established that we know from the chapters with Sabo that, like, Emu, whatever their name is, people don't know of them. Like, only the celestial dragons know of them, and like Sabo, but like the celestial dragons clearly think that they're in power. They have no idea that there's somebody who sits on the throne. There's a theory out there right now. So we just established in the last couple chapters all of the Elder Star's devil fruits, and they're all a variety of like yokai or demons, or they all stem from a type of folklore of demons, basically.
Yes.
I saw a theory this week that Emu could be a ocean demon, or like a type of sea demon, and
Some sort of ocean man.
I think that I wish I was looking for it just now and I can't find it, but I think that the folk tale behind that is that it's a creature that crushes ships, I believe. So like, like flooding and things like that. And so it's like if this is the person or this is the thing at the head of the world government that's like, and it's working in the shadows, that their entire plan is to, I mean, I have a feeling it's like they want the world to be all ocean, but the Elder Stars are like, yeah, but not us, right? Like, we'll be okay. Like, and it's like the Great Cleansing won't include us. And Emu's probably like, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, Al, exactly that. And Umibozu, yeah. And damn, if the illustrations don't look incredibly similar, they just need like a little crown.
At the same time, one of the biggest mysteries that has yet to be answered are those giant shadow beasts that were right outside of oh god, what's Halloween Town?
Thriller Bark.
And they
Topic?
they also looked like the Umibozu, where they're just giant like inky black darkness shapes with big wide eyes.
They could be Umibozu, but they're just like not as powerful as Emu.
But we still have no idea what they are because we had no like context. Yeah.
It could also just be like, if they're out there, maybe they can't withstand like the sunlight or something. Like or maybe it's like because it's supposed to be the Bermuda Triangle, basically, of the One Piece world. Maybe that's like the veil is thinner there or something like that in terms of like if they have their own world and we have our world or something like that.
There's a lot.
Wild, dude. Yeah.
There's a lot happening.
There's a lot.
God, like so like I guess again the question I'd like some sort of like solid answer because Al gave me a thumbs up that yes. Mark, you said yes, that you think it's going to be plot relevant. Molly, do you think it's going to be plot relevant, or do you think it's going to like be just another ticking clock on the way to getting Roger's quote unquote treasure, whatever that means?
I say it's both. It is a ticking clock world event where the idea of the islands across the sea of our crew members dying or being put in danger will force them to move faster.
Okay.
I think before that they got to Vegapunk Island, like the beginning of this arc, I think we all assumed that it was going to continue in the narrative of like a normal shonen, where it's like, we had made the list of like, okay, well, they're going to have to fight Shanks. We know that's going to happen. They're going to have to fight Blackbeard. We know that's going to happen. And then we know they're going to deal with the world government in whatever way and shape or form that is. So now, knowing what we know now with Vegapunk, I think because we assumed the timeline was just going to do the next three bosses or whatever, which is kind of like in the same vein of what like all the arcs that we've read before have been. It's wild to see that like Oda has completely spinned it on its head to now that we realize that there is like a more pressing situation going on. And again, it's like because I'm worried that it's like, oh well, everybody knows now. We don't have to keep it a secret anymore. That that's going to be like prerogative number one. So I think it is, but it's like in my head, it's like, okay, now that we have this information, I feel like we can all agree that we're probably going to go to Elbaf next. Our theory is that Saul is the man with the burns, who has the poneglyph for missing to get to Laughtail. And I think that it's gonna be like, I think that we're leading into something where it's like we're gonna go to the One Piece right away. Like the One Piece is not the end of the story. I think we're headed to the One Piece next. And then whatever we find at the One Piece is going to resolve with the Buggy and the Shank stuff. And then I have a feeling that like whatever the Blackbeard thing is going to resolve within the Emu stuff. I feel like they got a very similar vibe. Like I think that's going to be a thing. And so if it's like Shanks, Buggy, all of these pirates like coming together to then turn around and fight Emu. And so it's either I feel like Blackbeard and Emu are going to team up, or Blackbeard's going to somehow like take over Emu, and then Blackbeard's going to be the like final boss. But I feel like, yeah, go ahead.
I agree with that in the sense of I feel like what's more piratey than pirates fighting over control of the world itself. And I think whatever's going to happen with Emu is going to resolve itself, and then what pirate is going to step up, quote unquote, what pirate is going to step up and take the throne of the world, or what pirate would desire that. And that sounds like a place for Blackbeard to come in and name himself king.
Because it's just like,
and go from there. Like Blackbeard, I think is the ultimate final baddie, and while Emu is ridiculous and insane, we still have no scope of what he actually is or what they actually are. Seemingly
immortal.
At the same time, we've been told countless times, or we've been told several times, that there is a fruit with an immortality surgery that comes with it. So, like, them being immortal, them being in positions of power to be immortal, isn't the wildest thing about their story.
It's true.
Yeah.
I am just wondering that in terms of like Endgame scenario, I mean, to talk about the Avengers, and the Endgame here is that like, if we get rid of Emu, does that mean the water will go down? Because let's say the final battle, there's no more land anymore, and it's them fighting on the seas. Like, what is the end? Like, can you be the king if there's no land to rule?
Well, there's still the red line. The red line is still very, very high, and that's where all of the celestial dragons live.
Yes.
So that
Where Marijois is.
There's also just so many loose ends that I feel like will get tied up that I've been thinking about this week. Like I've been thinking more about the loose ends than I have been about like the big drop that happened on Friday, because it's like the bridge, the
Tequila Wolf seems like
yes.
a perfect
but it's
thing
like,
of
what are they bridging?
I think they might be bridging one side. There might be it is something to combat the wait.
Oh my god, he brain blasted.
He connected the dots.
It is there will be an island that has a resource to get people to space. And the faster
I keep forgetting about space too.
The faster way to do it than sailing is if you had a big flipping road directly from Marijois or wherever on the red line to there.
Yeah, it's a lot of like Endgame stuff that I'm just like, it's two things for me. I'm thinking about Endgame stuff in terms of like, well, they set this up, how's that going to tie in, kind of stuff, and then it's the opposite, where I've been reflecting on every single thing we know about like One Piece so far and being like, oh, that makes sense. Like, you know me, I'm always thinking about Marineford, but like part of the reason why they were so scared of Whitebeard is because he had the ability to like earthquake and like create tsunamis essentially in a world where the sea is already rising. It's like I think Sengoku said it. He is the man who is able to destroy the world, is what they called him when he first showed up. Like when he jumped into the battle in Marineford. And it's like crazy to think about. But he's also somebody who we assume knows what the One Piece is because Roger told him. So, he could have really just been flexing to be like, no, not yet. Maybe in two
Maybe
more
I'm
years.
gonna kill everybody.
And then
shaky.
to add to that, the additional stressor of panic in that regard, let's say that his devil fruit could potentially destroy the world. Guess who has it right now?
Yup.
Yeah. So things that have been keeping me up at night.
Other than if Oda remembers to draw young Garp or Garp in general.
Garp is the serotonin. Garp gets me to sleep. But what's the opposite of serotonin? Stress?
Cortisol.
Yeah,
Anxiety.
that's me thinking about this stuff where I'm like,
Well, let
God.
me add to that. We still haven't seen Garp since he was captured.
I know, but it's like
It's true.
to what end? He doesn't have a devil fruit. What aside from bribing the Marines, like what does Garp have
he
in
also,
value?
Knows. Like he's got information. He's got things that he doesn't tell anybody.
He
like,
has a
this dude
huge bounty on his head too.
Yeah.
This dude has been quietly stocking up info his entire time. Like, I wonder. This is gonna be it. This is something that I don't think is correct. I don't think it's right. But also, it does feel very Garpy to do, which is to say, this is why Garp has been disappointed that Dragon and Luffy didn't join him in the Marines, because part of me thinks that Garp has known that all of this stuff was eventually going to go down, and once he figured it out, he's just like, no, I need to have my family with me so that I know that I can get them out. You need to join me so that I know that I can protect all of you, which is a very Garp thing to do, which is just like, I'm going to teach you how to take care of yourselves, but also I'm right. So listen to me. And
my theory on that is less of him protecting them and more of like what we know about Garp is that he is part of a secret marine force called Sword. And we have yet to get any additional information on it aside from that. I believe we know for a fact that Kobe and Helmeppo are part of that group. It's part of the reason why
and Smoker.
Yes.
Yeah, it's part of the reason why Garp is allowed to just show up to Blackbeard's base because they technically don't command him. And I think that it was less of Garp wanting to protect his family and more of like Garp knowing what the end fight was going to be and wanting his family to be on his side so that he could tackle it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like he knew that he had like a strong force. But I think it's really interesting because when you look at it, and he's like taught all of these people and none of them have gone the way that he wants it to do. It's because literally every single I mean, aside from Kobe, but like every single person that Garp has trained in hopes that they will join him are tackling the issue to what they think is right. We got Aokiji, who has joined Blackbeard, who doesn't know if he is on the right side, but he knows that where he is now, he will see the end result of whatever's going to happen.
Which I think it's smart. Honestly, like I know everybody's a little spicy about that, but I think he made a good call given what was offered. Like what was given to him in that moment was basically either death or getting to see how things pan out. And I think that he chose right. I think he deserves to see how things pan out.
So we got Aokiji. Aokiji is doing whatever he thinks is right. Dragon,
Molly politely restraining herself.
I got a whole argument for that. Listen, I'm not saying I don't understand his choice. I'm just saying that he made a wrong one. Like he can still be there to see what happens without taking Garp out. Okay. So we got Aokiji.
True,
we got Dragon.
Like, prove a point.
I have a theory that Dragon, I have a theory that Garp told Dragon too much, or Dragon saw what it meant to be a Marine in terms of the Celestial Dragons, and he left to then start the Revolutionary Army. So he's doing it in the way that he thinks he should do it.
Molly.
And then what?
Molly, you're a genius.
And so then we
No, hold on. Because we've been shown that Garp blurts out information completely unprompted that
That's
he
his special quirk.
probably shouldn't be saying out loud. So I think
Oops, forget I said it.
Yeah. Oh, never mind. Don't worry. Forget that I said that. Yeah, Al. Like that's a great concept.
The other thing is that I think in terms of the timeline, it could be possible that Dragon was at God Valley. And like, what was God Valley? A bunch of celestial dragons hunting down slaves for sport. Like, a normal, sane person would not think that's okay. And that could also have been the tipping point for him of like, oh my God, this is the result. Like, it's the reason why Garp has never become an admiral. He's always been a vice admiral. Because once you get high enough, like, you have to directly serve the celestial dragons.
Yeah, once you get high enough.
So we got Dragon. Dragon's doing his own thing with the people that he thinks, people who need the most help. And then we have Ace and Luffy, who went about it the pirate way. Ace is interesting because, like, and we'll get into it with the light novel, but, like, we find out that, like, Ace didn't necessarily want to be a pirate. Like, he was never like Luffy, where he was like, I'm gotta be the pirate king. Like, it's like being the pirate king is being the freest person on the ocean. Ace's entire motivation, which they comment on a lot in the light novels, is that he just wanted to erase his father's name from history. He wanted to be more famous than his father. That didn't necessarily mean being a pirate, which Whitebeard and Shanks both kind of comment on, being like, bro, I think you're in the wrong profession. It's like you got to kind of like hand in hand with some stuff with being a pirate, and like you're just kind of out here trying to erase your dad's name. Like, you can kind of do that in any way, but you chose this way. But we have Luffy, who, instead of being a Marine, which we don't know necessarily, just because we get just a little bit of Luffy before the Gumu Gumu no fruit like situation in Shanks. We don't know if Luffy didn't want to be a Marine prior to meeting Shanks. That could have been his dream. We know from a pilot that he idolized Garp a lot. We can assume that him stabbing himself in the face to show Shanks that he was serious and strong was a direct reference to Garp, who has a scar on the same side of his face. Of like, that's the toughest person I know. I'm going to get, I'm going to look like Garp to be tough as well. But we do know that after the Gumu Gumu no fruit, after meeting Shanks, he feels like this is the way to go about it. It's also interesting just because Luffy's motivation has never been, I'm going to go out and help people. His motivation's always been, I don't want to be a hero, because hero has to share their stuff with people. I don't want to be a pirate. I want to just have my own stuff. I don't want, you can't sit with us. Like, you can't
sit with us.
And it's like, oh no, we don't want to eat your meat, Luffy. We just need help with this tyrannical situation. And him being like, oh, that? Yeah, I can do that. Easy. Done.
Tyranny.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's like, I think it's so funny and so interesting. It's like the same way that Garp is like, this is perfect. I'll get my family to help me with this thing. Like, yeah, we're all so strong, whatever. You can see the direct line of influence of like, they're all stubborn like you. Like, it's like, I'm sure you're frustrated, like, not knowing that you're seeing yourself, but like, your family is so like you. The issue is that you would never work with yourself. Like, you want to be the leader, but you've made a bunch of leaders that aren't going to follow you.
Yep.
Which is why I think Kobe, out of like the 4 that he, trained originally, Kobe is going to be the golden child, because he's actually been doing literally everything Garp's wanted him to do. He's following Garp. He's following Garp's training regiment. He's listening to Garp, like all of the advice Garp is giving in terms of like what do you do if like there's a bunch of people, like get out of there. And it's like, Garp, you can't just say that. And it's like, why? Like you live to fight another day or whatever. Like don't like believe this self-sacrificial crap the Marines are trying to feed you. Like, you're not fodder.
I think part of that might be because Kobe wanted to be a Marine before Garp showed up.
It's true. Part of it is definitely because Kobe's original goal was that pirates really hurt Kobe specifically and made his life hell. And it's like, oh, I want to learn to like protect blah, blah, blah. And then he met Garp, and Garp's just like, I'm going to teach you everything. And so it immediately became just like, oh my god, he's gonna teach me everything, and he cares about people just as much as I do, and also he's friends with Luffy, so I don't have to pretend to not be friends with Luffy. So it kind of like he kind of like won the lottery with mentors on that one, honestly. He really
But I feel
did.
like so many people don't buy into Garp's bullshit. Like Kobe could have easily, like once he was part of the Marines, could have easily been like, okay, I don't like this, so I'm gonna like transfer somewhere else. Like in the worst timeline, like Kobe gets mentored by like Akainu. You know what I mean? Like I think as much as it was like not his choice, I really do think it was Kobe's choice to stick with Garp. Like in an organization like the Marines, I'm sure it's easy enough to transfer around. Like, but I think he specifically has taken to staying with Garp because I think that like I think they did a good job of it in the live action, but like it's a lot of like conversations they had in that show that we don't see in the manga of like Garp really making Kobe question like answering or taking orders and like going against what he personally feels like is true justice. And I think they did a really good job of that in the show. But I think that their morals, I think Kobe's morals line up with Garp's morals, but Garp is also like he's book smart but also street smart. So it's like Garp has like years of advice to give Kobe in terms of like, saving a life is a good, everybody wants to save a life or whatever, but here's the realistic scenario of like saving somebody's life who doesn't want to be saved, like saving a criminal's life. Like, there's all these nuances and context to a lot of stuff. So I also think it's in the chapters that we saw with Garp on Blackbeard's Island, Garp saving Kobe but fighting Aokiji or Kuzan or whatever. There's a lot of theming in that I think is interesting. Also, I feel like, I don't know if we've touched on it in prior episodes, like prior port prediction episodes, but I think we can all agree that Blackbeard to some degree is the end game of the story, and Blackbeard this entire time has been gathering devil fruits, like, and we haven't truly cracked the full explanation on devil fruits yet.
Oh,
So,
I don't. Speaking of that, I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but I know we passed a theory around from another One Piece show that I'm forgetting the name of right now, and I'm sorry, but they brought up why Blackbeard was going after Big Mood.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think that was I don't know if we talked about it in a recording. I know Yumi
That's
and
what I
Al were
mean.
talking about it, but it might have been a before stream thing.
Yeah,
And I
because
think,
so
yeah, I
the-
think I had
the-
brought it up. It was somebody online's theory of it, of basically,
Long story
if you're
short.
like, if you're one of the most hated people out there, like even you have a hard time getting people to like you, et cetera, et cetera. Like what better devil fruit than the Miro no Mi? Which cause, it's like there's like a charm influx on that. So it makes
oh
sense
no,
why he would.
not that reason. The
Oh,
other
then
reason.
go ahead. Go ahead. I don't know
So
that.
the theory was, if one of the few things that we know about devil fruits is when people die, they respawn. So what's the next best thing other than death? Turning them into stone. So if you turn a bunch of the strongest devil fruit users to stone, those devil fruits stay locked and don't respawn and go somewhere else.
I don't think we talked about that.
No,
What I
we
was talking about is
definitely
what. But even like Al, Mark, and I, like the what I was talking about before of like it's silly, but like yeah, it would really help him to like gain followers in that regard. But then
And-
it was like, yeah, that's crazy.
And going off of, he has Kuzan, but if Kuzan isn't a reliable source, then he gets the other the other devil fruit.
He does it himself.
He either he does it himself or he gives that to another one of his crewmates and freezes it, whether in stone or in ice, the people that he doesn't. He takes pieces off of the board without them having to rejoin. But
Which
I think
is wild. Yeah, sorry.
that also shows that he doesn't think that Kuzan is 100% trustworthy.
It's just crazy because it's like the last 2 or 3 times that we've seen Blackbeard in the last like 100 chapters. We saw him go for Hancock, but Rayleigh stops that. He takes Kobe because Kobe. Um,
Jesus.
the next fight we see is Law. He completely decimates Law's crew, and Beppo gets him away. We can only assume that he was after his devil fruit. Which we know is like you brought it up earlier. Like there is the
Immortality
potential
surgery.
There's some immortality in there, yeah.
And then in those chapters, I believe that we also see that he has Pudding, who has a devil fruit that's like pretty, like pretty helpful. Honestly, I mean, imagine using her devil fruit on, say, Emu or Elder Star. You can get literally any information you would want. Out of those people. And if his end game is always going to be to the tippy top, that's a lot of devil fruits you'd want under your belt. Which is crazy because it's like, I don't know if we know where Pudding is at the moment. We saw she was on the ship. She had made a comment saying that when Mama hears about this, when Big Mom hears about this, like, you guys are really going to get it. Not knowing that, like, we don't, I mean, I think we all assume that Kaido and her are dead. I mean, no, that could, fingers crossed, but
if not, she's been taking a bath in lava for quite some time.
And I'd have to reread it again because I can't remember if they showed her escaping in a cover story or not. But in my head right now, the last time I remember seeing her was captured in the Blackbeard boat as Blackbeard was fighting Law, but. During the Garp fight on Blackbeard Island, Kobe. Well, I guess it would make sense. Blackbeard hasn't returned basically from defeating Law yet, so we don't know what his crew, if he has his crew or not, and he's not back yet because Kobe was released by Perona, who is on the island looking for Moria. Yeah, it's like now I'm thinking in terms of what you just said, Mark, of like, is Moria, it's like the people that they've captured prior and taken the devil fruit from, are they actually dead or are they preserving them in some way? Because I don't know, we've talked about it in a different port prediction. Caden, have I ever talked or brought up the theory that Blackbeard might be 3 people or has like 3 hearts or...
Yes.
Okay.
You've mentioned it very briefly, but I don't think we talked about it at length. Also, I just want to take a quick moment to say, thank God we're here and you guys finally get to like exposit like this. You guys must have been like waiting so patiently.
I mean,
for so much.
You can read spoiler chat now. You'll see.
Yeah. Also, like you know, we've told you before of times when like we've had meetings that everybody was on time for. Of
oh yeah, unlike today, Mark.
Caden would have to leave, and then we'd be like, all right, Caden, you go ahead. Al, Molly, and myself have to talk about something that just happened in the show. Like that was more than one time of us just being like, oh my God, did you guys see the BS that's happening right now? Oh my God.
The amount of times that we've streamed on a Thursday and like by the time that we wrapped on stream and Caden would leave, like the chapter would be up online and we would be like, hang on, and we would all be on the call quietly reading the chapter so that we could talk about it immediately. Happened a fair amount. There was definitely a Garp backstory chapter that dropped when we streamed once, and I remember making the joke about like, yeah, and you guys are thinking about how Garp, that Oda draws Garp young hot, and then directly after that stream was a flashback where like, he did it, the mad lad, he drew him hot, he's young and he's hot. So yeah, like we'll get back to the thought I had about Blackbeard, but fine. One of those loose ends that we've talked about, I know for sure we've talked about, is that we don't know exactly how Blackbeard gets the devil fruit out or whatever. Like he just draped a
literally
cape over...
a close-up magic trick, as far as we know.
Yeah, it's like literally drapes a piece of cloth over Whitebeard, and suddenly he's got the magic in him.
He's got the magic.
But yeah, it's like now I'm thinking it's like, depending on how he gets this devil fruit out, like, because we know he doesn't have Boa's devil fruit, he does have Aokiji. We do know that there's a time there's a threshold of time to get unfrozen before you're like dead. Like the Straw Hats like immediately defrosted Robin and Luffy on Long Island. But you know that's not necessarily like if Moria's I don't know though, because it's like now I'm thinking about it, we know when we met Moria, dude had like a body locker on his ship.
How
Where,
long was Oars Senior in that freezer as he
Yeah.
was stuffing him full of souls?
So if he has the technology to preserve
No thanks,
bodies,
I'm
right? It's like I'm a little bit like I wonder if Moria's working for Blackbeard. We have not seen him in so long, and I'm like, if he's not dead, which I hope he is. But it's like because it's him and Absum or whatever that fucking
Absol.
creep.
Absalom.
Yeah, it's the two of them, and at least like Moria, we know has some history in terms of like the scientific community. So I'm just like,
As long as
I'm a little-
Hogback's dead too.
yeah, and maybe I'm thinking about him, but like I'm a little worried that like maybe they're like underground in chains working for Blackbeard and they're doing some bad stuff. But
I mean, how many arcs and sagas can we get fit into this last little bit of story? Because
No sleep.
not just the
Till Brooklyn?
not just the all of the plot stuff, but I guess we'll talk about it also in like a proper episode when we talk about Egghead again. But like, man, just because we have a second, like put like 30 seconds on the clock just to be like, I thought that the top-notch animation was gonna like slow down after the big reveal of Gear Fifth.
Nope.
But then he and Rob Lucci fought, and it was
Yep.
the coolest flipping thing.
That
Al-
was so good.
Yeah, do you? I like what you said about that fight.
I mean, you know me, head empty, no thoughts. I don't remember what I said about that fight.
You
Mark.
said you said your top two favorite One Piece punches
Oh,
are
yes,
both
that one.
punching Rob Lucci in the face.
and they flashbacks to it as well.
Oh man, yeah.
It's yeah. Go ahead, Al.
the fake out of that punch of him just like teasing him, and then like they put so much effort into the animation of that fight. It was very deliberate to have the punch be suddenly he's right there and he's punching. Like it's
So good.
It's
Oh
so
my
good.
god.
It's just wild to see because like Rob Lucci is in his final form. Like he is in the what do they call
he
it?
can't get
The-
any awoken. Yeah, he can't get
Awoken
any
devil
stronger,
fruit.
and he sucks.
but it's just crazy because it's just like it's in terms of like a measure of strength, like seeing and it should be obvious, like comparatively after Whitebeard died, I think Kaido, hands down, they had said that like was the strongest person alive after Whitebeard. So when you just finished fighting somebody like that, and then Rob Lucci's like, I've come back to fight once more. Here's me after my 2-year training, and it's like not even close. Not even close in comparison
Never
to
picked up a
power.
newspaper. Can't be bothered. Rob Lucci.
No, yeah.
To bring that back to predictions, in terms of like right now, it looks like they're setting the scene for an actual turn, a begrudging one at that. But the last time we see Rob, he tells one of the Elder Stars, "Hey, save my friend," and him being like, oh, it's hard to pick one bug out of the whole colony or whatever,
That's
something like that.
The same energy, like Rob Lucci learned that from Dad. You know what I mean? Like that's
And I'm
the
not saying
same.
it's not, but that might be him being like, oh, I hate everybody. At the very
Are
least,
we
if he
the
doesn't-
I think
I don't,
if
I don't
Rob
think he's that
Lucci,
smart.
I think if Rob Lucci does anything, he'll go in the same way that Kuzan went, where it's like, I don't know if I'm following the right guy, but I will get answers if I continue on this path. Like
Exactly.
I feel like Rob is going to come to a point where he's got to forfeit Kaku, and I feel like Kaku will join he'll get on the Straw Hat side, but I think Rob is going to continue on this path of being in the Elder Star's pocket. Not that he's not self-aware, but that he's going to get answers, because even he didn't know. He assumed authority when he saw one of them, but he didn't know that was an Elder Star right away. He just
doesn't know much of anything, honestly. He's been just kind of like, he's Mr. Follow Orders, and it's only made his life worse. So I wonder actually if this is going to be, especially because of how things have been turning out, is this going to be the turning point for like a lot of characters to just have this moment of just like, man, you know what? Never mind. Never mind. Maybe this sucks. And, it's like, maybe this is when the Marines like unionize with the pirates and they're just like, maybe this sucks and we should work together.
If the thing we talked about at the beginning happens, that's going to be a make or break for so many characters in this series.
It's true.
Mm-hmm. It's that tough thing with a job of like, I want to protect my family, but who are you protecting if everybody's gonna die?
Well, that's what I'm worried about, because if the timetable gets pushed up, right? It's like all of these, the world now knows that the ocean is sinking. There are certain Marines on the island right now who are like live reacting to the Elder Stars and freaking out. And like, I know one of the Elder Stars mentioned, like, no, we can't do that because we will lose, strategically, like we will lose too many pawns in this fight. Like we need the numbers or whatever. And somebody else, one of the other Elder Stars was like, who cares? Like, just kill him. Well, there's always more or whatever. And so it's like, I feel like if they're gonna start rushing, like, the Great Cleansing, I feel like they're gonna come to a point where the Marines, like, like a normal person's gonna be like, I'm out. Like, there's no way that me at the bottom of the tier is going to be saved. You know what I mean? It's like, I think a lot of Marines are going to turn, and like it's gonna be night and day in terms of like, but it just depends on like if the whole of the Marines hears what the outcome's gonna be.
It's gonna go from you damn pirates to please help me, pirates. Pretty quickly.
Yeah. It depends.
Maybe.
Because who's the man in charge right now? Akainu's the man in charge.
But I feel like he's somebody that might not know, and if somebody who doesn't have all the information, how do you think that guy's going to react? You know what I mean?
I think
that guy's going to be big mad about it.
They did the right thing by having Borsalino be the guy that's the boots on the ground for Egghead, because he's the one that has always been bad, but he seems a little bit more reasonable than Akainu. Definitely not as like Kuzan is like, what have I done? Dear God, I made a terrible mistake, and then turns around and makes another terrible mistake. But like between the three admirals that were left, showing Borsalino, I think will indicate how the other two are going to demand their soldiers fall in line, or they will be killed.
In terms of turning a corner, I feel like he's about to. I mean, the last time we saw him was on the ground crying with his arm over his face, just saying like, "Let me pass out," or "I want to be done fighting.
Please let me die."
Please let me die. Yeah.
So I feel like if somebody's gonna turn a corner here, it might be him.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, you want to talk about, put a quick pin in this and talk about a fun theory real fast, and then we can get back into it?
Into the drama, sure.
Yeah.
A fun theory I saw this week that was just like, I think somebody had made like a list of like, here's my favorite One Piece theories that like aren't like, like revolutionary by any means. Who is the Marine who blinded himself, who's got the gravity, the galaxy? Fujitora. There's a really fun theory out there that Akainu and Fuji are brothers. When you put them side by side, they have they look very similar. And it's interesting in terms of what we've seen, like Akainu be like, that fool, like, why did he let Straw Hat go or whatever? Like, he clearly doesn't think the best of him. And also in terms of like ideals, they're complete opposites.
It's true.
That's fun.
I thought that was interesting.
I think that's definitely plausible. I'm going to mark that one as definitely plausible, especially because of the not just because they look similar because this is where I get to be a little salty. It's just like, you mean like every single skinny woman in One Piece where they all look almost identical and it's hard to tell them apart in Wano, where you lose track of like most of the characters because they all almost look identical. But in this case, I think it really, like, there's definitely things about them that speak more heavily towards them being possibly related. And I think the idea of like having them be like diametrically opposed with like their ideals being way more of an indicator.
Yeah, Kane, I hear you. I hear exactly what you just said. I do want to like reiterate that like with a lot of the Marines, they are based off real actors, like a lot of like Oda's favorite actors. So yeah, Aka Inu and Fuji are based off real people. So there is an aspect of like they look similar because it's like, you know, his design of real people. But yeah, I hear you. I hear what you're saying, but
do we know who the actors that he based these two off of? We do.
Yeah, no.
Are they brothers?
No, they're from
that
two.
Would be the immediate. That would be the smoking gun in this situation.
They're from two different eras of cinema.
Okay.
So I have them right here. Akainu is based off of Bunta Sugawara, who is still with us. Bless him. Oh, never mind. I take it back. He is not still with us.
You jinxed him. He's dead now. You did that.
You killed him, Mars.
You did this.
He's been dead for 10 years.
Oh.
But he was known for mobster movies, but he did appear in almost 200 films.
Oh my God.
And then Fujitora is based off of Shintaro Katsu.
Who's Zatoichi the Blind Swordsman.
Who is Zatoichi the Blind Swordsman.
Yes.
It's really funny.
And also, those movies are amazing.
Yes.
They're very good.
But yeah, they're from two different types of cinema and represent two different types of characters. But the fact that it's just, you know what? No, I have a blind swordsman. I'm going to make him... he's just going to be Zatoichi.
It's just him.
Yeah.
Otis said no notes.
No notes, zero notes.
There are no improvements that can be made.
Nothing.
Yeah.
We have reached the peak.
Yeah.
What other sad stuff do we want to talk about?
Oh, it's so funny. I just typed in Aka Inu and Fujitora because I just went into comparative. Like, I wanted, like, I saw it earlier, but I wanted to see comparative faces to them. And the first thing that pops up is a Reddit post saying Aka Inu and Fujitora are brothers from Wano.
It's really funny.
And I'm like, I don't think that's been confirmed. I don't know if you should phrase it like that. Where
Well,
it's like confidently said.
Here's an animatic idea. Aka Inu getting on the phone with Fujitora after after Dressrosa, and just being like, ew, brother, ew,
What is that?
What is that?
Ew, brother.
Ew. Yo, they do be looking the same though. It'd be crazy if they were twins. Also in terms of freaking Caden's got me on the brain. But another like the Endgame scenario, fun fan idea that I would love. Fujitora's devil fruit, rip it out of him, give it to Garp. I want to see. I know, but I also want to just see the devastation of like Garp doing his galaxy punch with like literal comets coming down with him.
That would be really cool, though. That would be really, really cool.
The equivalent of Captain America with Mjolnir. Like, Garp, go. Yeah.
This isn't exactly a sad thought, but I mean, it is tied to the sad thought.
We don't have to do sad thoughts.
Well, we've talked about it before. And speaking of Captain America and the Mjolnir and the roll up, the thing
it's pronounced Mew Mew, just so we're clear.
Mjolnir.
And Mew Mew, the big hammy.
Exactly. Mew Mew, the giant hammer.
So the roll up for this last fight, if the timer has started, I've like tried to think about who would actually be able to show up, and it's the fleet would be able to show up, the Grand Fleet. Water 7 probably will be done.
Oh, I do want to talk about Water Summon after this. Yeah.
We can talk about it now.
Okay. Well,
You
just
guys
in terms
can't.
of like,
You guys can save some theories for later because
no,
Molly, we
No.
have. Mark, help me here.
I want to talk about it right now because we don't know if this week's episode, like, we don't know if this
It's
week's
gonna
chapter is going to,
change everything.
yeah, or like
Okay.
confirm
That's
what I'm
fair.
saying. I want the clout. But like, in terms of like, as Caden said at the beginning of this episode, of like literally 1,113 chapters of evidence confirming that the ocean is rising. Our man, freaking Iceberg, out here creating islands that float, baby.
Our man Iceberg.
Our man, our boy, him and his boyfriend Polly, dude, they out here.
Love this for them.
Ahead of the
me too.
curve.
Yeah, it was oh god, I saw another great image. I sent you guys so much stuff this week and I don't know what platform it was on. Somebody compared the
Just any
image.
platform Molly is on, she sent us stuff.
Yeah, honestly.
It's true. It's really true.
And by the time you catch up, I've sent you 2 more. But the island of Water 7, you know how it kind of looks like a wedding cake with like fountains, like the water coming out of
Yes.
it? Somebody compared it to another island that was like, oh, it makes so much sense now. And I don't know if it was Wano or I forget what it was. It was very like clearly a reference. I mean, it was just, it could also just be Oda doing a lot of similar drawing themes, but it was like, oh wow, I don't know if this was supposed to be like a reference that no one picked up on, but like now knowing the context of this week's chapter and being like, oh, I mean, Iceberg called it, like they called it. And Tom too. It's like I wonder what Tom knew. He made the freaking train on
Dude,
on the
Tom
ocean.
had to know this.
Oh
dude,
Yeah.
my god.
Like
Yeah.
Tom had to know everything. That's probably why they're just like, hey, if you don't shut your mouth now. He was probably like on retainer after a minute because like this dude was just like, if you make this and then we're not even kind of clear, you're still just gonna be a part of this, but this is gonna get you to being able to be alive is where it is. And it's just like, this dude, he had to know everything. I bet he knew where the One Piece is too.
Well, so now the One Piece has to be a amongst several things it can be. It has to be a piece of information.
It's a poneglyph, honestly, at this point.
It has to be something that shows how the current like seat of power came to be. Like I think the person who finds the One Piece is the freest man in the sea because they are not, or the freest person in the sea because they are not tied down by the knowledge that the society has been beaten into them from a very young age. So like it's not just stuff about the Void Century. I think it's everything.
Well, it also probably, because of that, it has to be really defended or hidden or both.
Or you know, what if it's constantly moving?
Yeah.
That, I mean, yeah, it could be like on the back of a turtle or something.
Something like that.
But I honestly think the One Piece is an island. Like it is like, I think it's connected to Joy Boy to some capacity of like the 18-year void, that battle before the 18-year-old void. But I feel like it's a poneglyph that like Lili Nefertiti put there because we know that they specifically are they're the only reason why we know about the history before the Void Century. Because if it wasn't for, I want to say it's a she her, but like before, if it wasn't for her, like we in this current day and age would never have known. Even like Dr. Clover or Professor Clover had said it prior of like, the reason why they made the poneglyphs is because they didn't trust that books and paper would survive. And not survive the times, but survive the government.
The name drop in this most recent chapter this week of like, we can't have another Dr. Clover situation. I was like, how dare you?
And we got confirmed that was the Elder Star that was there. Like Robin recognized his voice. But,
and then Robin getting back to everybody being like,
Yep.
we need to protect Robin now.
Yeah. But like 2 things I want to finish on the Water 7 thought. One, we also had an interesting reference that I think I think people took it as a joke, but now I'm like, wait, is that for real, Oda? And one of those is the people from Vegapunk's hometown saying, whatever happened to that Frankie? I think he turned himself into a boat. Like, is part of the ship, part of the crew, is Frankie actually a part of the Thousand Sunny? Because we already know there's a bunch of connotations on like we assume it's like I think there was I don't know if we talked about it or if it was just a theory I read, but there is a theory out there that Frankie, the one who burned the blueprints for one of the weapons, made the Thousand Sunny that weapon. Like he didn't need the blueprints because it was all
Yeah,
up top, and then
Pluton.
he made the
I think that's probably true. Like,
Oh no, not Pluton. No, yeah, Pluton, because Neptune is Shirahoshi.
Shirahoshi.
Right? Yeah.
Neptune's alive.
And
Yeah.
Uranus is probably the space laser.
Yeah. But so it's like I thought that was a wild thing to bring up randomly. Funny, but also like, what? Like, what do you mean? And then the other thing, second thought, continuing with Tom knowing, at least Tom knowing within a capacity, ties back into Fishman Island stuff, because we know that Fishman Island will one day rise to the surface, is what they're hoping for. What if they don't rise to the surface? What if the sea levels go down and that it goes down far enough that like then the Fishman Island is at like the normal the normal sea level again?
Well,
Because
okay.
isn't it
so-
also like the prophecy of like when that happens, it'll be like in the conclusion of the Joy Boy thing, or like when it's safe or something. Like they don't get to choose, but it will happen.
Here's the question: how many Plutons do you think already exist?
So here's
Because we already know
You
one
first, Al.
exists. One already exists. We already know one is out there.
I think we have
Well, it's- Go ahead,
like,
Al.
sorry. I think we have an original situation, and then we have the new and improved situation. Because we know one was built once. We don't know
Yeah.
what happened
Well,
to it.
We do
no,
know
we
what
still have
happened to
it.
it.
Yeah, it's on
we know
Fishman Island. It's
No,
where
it's-
Luffy
it's in-
fought
No, it's in Wano.
the ship.
Yes,
So we-
Pluton, the
so we-
ship, is in Wano. It's underneath Wano.
So then I would say 3, because I feel like the Noah's Ark of boats that Luffy was fighting on Fishman Island with the creepy guy, that the sea beasts like carefully lowered without it crushing the town, and it's like I feel like that's going to come into play, which is why I'm like I feel like the sea levels are going to rise to a point where people are going to have to be like Noah's Ark level on that boat.
That's true.
But so yeah, I would say 3. Go ahead.
Do
Al.
you think Noah would show up at the roll up?
No way.
What if
Possibly.
Kobe's Noah?
no, Noah's the ship.
No.
No, the allegory.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
But also Noah the ship, and also Kobe is Noah.
Noah the
You got
ship
that?
with Kobe as Noah being just like, everybody get on the frickin' boat.
Like
I could see
I've
Kobe
had
doing
this-
that. I could see Kobe legit being just like, I got a plan.
I've had
and-
a theory about Kobe coming from an important lineage based on his hair color for a while. I have a whole theory about
That
hair
we've talked-
color.
I think we talked about that in the port predictions after we watched Red.
And who better to be a messiah? Who better to be Messiah than Kobe? Also, remember when I said I don't want religion in my One Piece? I don't want religion in my One Piece.
Molly,
No,
you keep
no,
saying it,
hold
and
on.
it's already
I
there.
don't want
Buggy,
it.
you know what?
Oh,
Yeah, like-
Buggy.
Yeah.
Somebody who chops the sea. He splits
Buggy-
the sea.
But
No,
Molly,
Buggy-
you brought up that Buggy's Moses.
Buggy's Moses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buggy is Moses. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And
So-
the red nose is
Oh
hiding
my God.
Cobra's nose.
Oh my God. Hey, what if they need Buggy to get into where the One Piece is?
They will.
Because the One
They
Piece
might.
is already
They
the One
will.
Piece already is underwater, and the only way to get through, because Luffy has to be the one there,
Part
they
the
need a way
water.
down there.
Yeah.
And the way to do it is Buggy's just like, well, if I just go doodly doodly doot and it splits, but I get half the treasure.
Really quickly.
I want to see. Okay.
Well, because we've been darting from thing to thing,
Yeah.
and Caden asked a question. I wanted to answer it, and I wanted to respond to your theory too, Molly. I think Frankie being, quote, turning himself into a ship, I think Frankie is going to be a missing piece of the ship to do like a final big thing.
to turn
Like
it
a
into
Gurren
to
Lagann thing.
Yes.
Basically, yeah, to like this, like, hey, he built the ship, and then he needed to build the key, and he's the key.
Exactly.
And that was it's like he built it as like a safety precaution, so then he turned himself into the key. So if they kill him, then
And
it doesn't work as Pluton. But
the
with
evidence-
him, it's Pluton.
The evidence for that is like the drawings that we've talked about of Oda drawing everybody if their life went well or if their life didn't go well. And if Frankie's life not going well, he's literally a boat.
He's a boat.
He's literally just a boat.
Oh no,
just a
he's
boat.
in the worst timeline.
Exactly. And
I
then
would love-
the other thing I wanted to mention,
Yeah.
I was trying to find the post that you mentioned, Molly, but the only thing that is important is the post that you sent of from artist Crystallized Twilight on Instagram when your dad's boyfriend has makeup and it's Uda doing Buggy's makeup.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
It's
yeah.
the best. It's the best.
I'm using purple. Hell yeah.
Sick.
Using purple.
Sick. She's like putting like purple eyeliner on Buggy or
And
eyeshadow.
butterflies and stuff.
And yeah, and he's like sick. Like he's into it. Like his nails are painted. He's like full gussied up. I had so many thoughts. What would be really interesting too, because like part of the modifications Frankie made were previous Vegapunk blueprints. If, any or some of the Vegapunks get off the island with a straw hat, whatever he has now, well, because we've already seen it in like the prior arcs of like Chopper working with multiple people to advance like his gumball thing,
Rumble Ball.
losing it. Yes. It's like, Usopp has gotten help and like Frankie's gotten help. It's like, it would be interesting if like the Vegapunks who, if they survive, help then be like, him being like, oh yeah, hey, you guys want to see something crazy? And him showing them what he's done and them being like, what the heck? You're doing this? Like you had this all planned out, and him being like, yeah, want to help me make it better? And they're like, oh, I think we gotta at this point. Like, I would love that. And then what was the other thought I had? The ship, part of the crew. Oh, I would love to see Buggy's awakened devil fruit be what we just described. Like, instead of him chopping apart, he can chop other things apart.
It's true.
Just like,
I would love that.
but it's not like a lethal form of chopping. He can just separate things. It's just he can
Like,
basically
yeah.
do what Law did, but like
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Without the containment of room.
Yeah, but like I the more we
anything
talk about
within
it,
200 Barabara.
yeah, the more we talk about it, the
Thank
more
you,
I'm
Al.
like, I feel like this is gonna be real. But just seeing Buggy split the sea in half makes me so happy and so angry at this. I don't want religion in my One Piece, but the themes are there.
Also Moses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
also, Molly, I hate to tell you, but Oda's been doing it the whole time.
I know. I'm the one who's
He's
brought
been
it up
here
every time.
The whole time.
I'm the one who, in the last X Men of things, was reiterated the Lion and the Lamb thing.
Well, and
I don't
also
want religion in my One Piece.
One Piece is like totally a story of stories. Like every arc has allegories to other like fairy
Yeah.
tales and
true.
folklore, and like it's a global story in that sense, and that it brings everything from everywhere,
Yeah,
which is just delightful.
yeah. I mean, yeah,
It's great
he's-
and also terrifying because
Yes.
it can come from anywhere and it's frustrating.
yeah. The funnier part is that we don't necessarily know if this is quote unquote in the real world. We don't know when this would be taking place. It could be like a Star Wars scenario where it's like a long time ago and a far, far away. Like this could be, maybe this is the original story of Moses and Jesus. Maybe we don't know.
Maybe we got it wrong.
Yeah.
Like
No,
Oda
I mean-
and this world has been referred to as the One Piece world. Like it would be a sort of like 2-minute warning to be like, oh, by the way, this is our world X amount of time ago or X amount of time in the future. Like, but they've been pretty. They haven't put a name on the planet yet. Is all that I'm saying.
Yeah, and it's just fresh in my mind because all the theories I've been reading in terms of like, all right, we know the ocean levels are rising. Like, there's a lot of like getting into the nitty-gritty of it being like, was the world once like Pangea, you know what I mean, where they were all together, and then also one of the reasons bringing up of long ring long land, it's that it's not a circlet of islands, it's all one island, just the water like the water rising, like rising and lowering, so that the nomads can travel from island to island every year, which is why the guy got left behind.
Go on.
I am trying to remember the first thought I had. Water rising, long ring, Long Island. But yeah, just in
Ring,
terms
Long
of
Ring.
like seeing like the evidence that the ocean's been rising this entire time. I'm just like, if we're going with allegories and themes, I'm like, what? It's like, where is like Oda pulling the folklore of Joy Boy from? In terms of like, if it's Joy Boy versus an Umiboshi, right? Or an Bozu. Like, is that like is there a Taro story out there that's like something similar with the Umibozu?
But we've already got Momotaro and Momo.
We do have Momo.
But I'm just saying, like, Momotaro is a very famous story and allegory in, Japanese
Sure.
culture.
It's true.
Is there a Joy Boy-esque folk story of this person versus an Umibozu?
I'm seeing something here. It says Bugzubunny.
No,
Jesus.
not allowed.
God.
End this man.
You can't kill it. You did not create.
Just
I'm-
because, like, we do
Bet.
know to an extent that, like, we saw the giant straw hat, right? We saw the giant straw hat in the freezer with Emu.
It's like a wedding cake.
Yeah,
Like a
but
wedding cake.
it's big and it's cold, and
Yep, same.
so we do know that there's some level
Just
of
like wedding
history. And with all the the whole Wano arc, there was multiple references to Japanese culture in there. Even like the famous painting of the Mount Fuji with the boat. Like just a lot of like cultural references and stories in that.
The Great Wave off Kanagawa.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm just trying to figure out, it's like,
There's so much we don't have to try to remember it all in one sitting.
We have so much. I'm gonna say we have so much that we haven't covered in the past, because there's stuff that like, and this is where I'm going to put a pin in the discussion, and we'll pick this up in another episode of Port Predictions. But there's so much that Oda has hinted at, and then like it's all starting to come together now with all these different things. So how much have we missed? Like, how many little nods to certain things have we, as in the four of us, missed? And this is where audience participation gets to be fun. We'd love to hear what you guys are thinking about for theories, because we'd love to, one, discuss them and bring them up and talk about your theories on the show as well. But also, like, point out stuff that we missed or made mistakes on. Like, we want to try and figure out Oda's giant ocean-based puzzle that he's put together. It's
His giant pickled brain.
exactly. We're trying to piece apart his pickled brain. Say that 10 times fast. And there's just so much that I know we're missing. And as somebody who has been right about a lot of things that we didn't even know, or the three of them didn't even know until most recently, I understand why you guys are terrified. I understand why you guys were so scared of me.
We
when
just don't
started the
know.
podcast.
You just don't know. You could be right, and that would be
that-
crazy.
Is that true? Is this something we would all ask? I don't know if is that real? Did that ever happen?
Did it happen? Could have.
Here's what I will say, if we're getting in the rapping mindset. I'm worried the amount of lore that we just got, the last time we got this amount of lore in chapters in like the last couple months then predated a bunch of chapters where we quick cut into what everybody else was doing and then cut back to it being like, oh yeah, it's been a couple days. What are the Straw Hats up to? Oh, they're good. And I'm worried with all the lore, we're about to like start cutting back and forth between places again. And it's just like, there's just so much happening at all times. And it's just a lot of information.
All the threads are being brought together. All the storylines are converging.
Yeah.
And this
Because
last chapter had a bunch of little check-ins of, hey, the TV show's almost on.
Yeah. I had a thought where to go.
Sorry.
But we're lucky in the sense that they're not skipping this. Like we have another chapters coming out this week. Like a lot of the lore drop that he's done in the past, which it's like it's his right. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but a lot of the lore drop had been like, and Luffy is Joy Boy. Anyway, see you in 2 weeks, and it's like 2 weeks. Like I was all the information we got this week, the first thing I looked to see is if it was next week break or not. And they're like, see you next week. And I was like, oh my God. Like, and I feel like this next chapter is going to be 20 pages of people reacting to the news. And it'll be people who don't know about it, like the Straw Hats and things like that. And then I think he's going to cut to people who we probably guessed knew or that we didn't realize knew. So I feel like we're going to get a quick cut to like Doflamingo laughing. You know what I mean? Somebody who every time we see him has been reading the newspaper and saying like, I know something you don't know. And it's like, I don't think he knows it because he was a celestial dragon. I think that in his like being a crazy warlord guy found out to some capacity and has always had that in his back pocket. And it's also the reason why like the government was so set on capturing him because he knew too much. But if we get like if we get a shot of confirmation Garp's alive, I feel like Garp's going to be like, yeah, I knew about that. Oh, don't tell anybody. And then everyone around him being like, what? Like reacting to it. I'm also curious to see like how the revolutionaries react to that. Because I feel like dragons creed has always been the blue collar us against them mentality, us at the bottom versus those on top.
Yeah.
It's always been kind of him and the celestial dragons, and now Sabo is the only one aside from the Straw Hats now, or I guess Sabo is really the only one that knows about Emu at least, has gotten this crazy information from Sabo, and then now hearing that like the world is sinking into the ocean, it's like, is he going to pivot in his creed? Because I know, will for sure rally the people to get on the boat, the Messiah's boat or whatever, to save the people who the government's not going to save. But it's like, in terms of like what they've been setting up to do, and they've already been starving the celestial dragons after the revelry. Like we do know that the revolutionaries aren't allowing ships coming in or out. So it's like, I feel like that's going to come to a head immediately too. It's just in terms of like them meeting up at Mary Joie or Dragon seeking out Luffy to be like, hey, you heard the news? We need to team up to do this thing. And Luffy being like, sounds like your problem, man. I'm going for the One Piece. Like, I gotta finish this thing before I start a new quest.
I kind of like dig the idea that Luffy's gonna ditch this entire thing. It's just like, but Luffy, we need to. It's like, yeah, but the One Piece is right there. Like this is great, but there's all these people who are going to help with that. We should go get the One Piece. And to be honest, that's probably going to be the saving play, because everybody's going to be so focused on everything else, with a small subsection of people not trying to get off the frickin' planet that's about to just like melt into itself with water. Them going to get the One Piece is probably going to save everybody, because the One Piece is probably like Roger being like, well, I know what the government's going to be up to. Whoever comes here and gets this is going to be able to save the entire world and will become king of the pirates.
Yeah.
Heavy asterisk there.
I feel like they're gonna be like, Luffy, we gotta deal with this. And he's gonna be like, why? We have a boat. And they're like, that's not the point. And then I feel like Robin's gonna back up Luffy and be like, no, I think if we go and find the One Piece, we will get the answers that we need to then make our next informed decision.
I need Robin's poneglyph report. Like,
Yeah. I think Robin's like, let me finish the story. I gotta finish the story. And I feel like especially if we're gonna go see Saul and Saul does another lore dump on us, I feel like people are gonna be begging Luffy to be like, yeah, go deal. We gotta go deal with this thing. And Robin being like, I think we need to go to the One Piece. Like, I think we need to get all the information. And I think with like Shanks and Buggy, I think like all of them are gonna come to the head, find out the same thing at the same time, pivot, and then head back to the Red Line for, the Grand Fleet or whatever. But I'm like, again, in terms of like, if the next chapter is everyone reacting to the knowledge that we just learned, I wonder if Shanks knows. Like, you're like, to like what capacity does Shanks know? Because I'm still thinking about when Rogers came back from the One Piece, he asked him something. Odin made a comment saying, red-haired Taro or whatever asked Rogers something. He didn't know what it said, but like whatever Rogers said, Shanks cried about. And we still have no context for that yet. And I'm also thinking about whatever Rogers said his dream is the same dream of Luffy's. And I think Mark said in the previous port prediction that it's like Luffy wants to swim, like, or something like that to that capacity. Like, what if it's the opposite? What if it's like, I want to be able to walk from island to island or something like that, which is also outrageous. But now knowing what we know, could be possible.
There's a lot brewing on in that cabeza of yours, Kevin.
I have not been sleeping well, unrelated. I've been thinking a lot.
Sleeping well because of this.
Yeah, but it's just like I'm thinking about a lot of stuff all the time lately.
the
When
red
Kaden
yarn
finishes,
wall is intense.
when Kaden finishes reading spoiler chat, she will see the amount of theories I've been throwing around for 2 years, because I've been reading with you, Kaden. And a lot of this stuff ties back to a lot of that stuff that's unfinished, stuff that I thought was very interesting, but we still have yet to get confirmation with yet. And it keeps me up at night.
Well, if it keeps you up at if it keeps you up at night, then you can.
Can I ask you guys a question and then we'll wrap up? I think this might be a fun way to end it.
Sure.
So we're here. We're up to date. It's all theories from here until we get confirmation.
Well, we'll have normal episodes still too.
That being like that being said, and I'll start with Kaden. What do you want to see happen in the next, I don't want to say like the next chapter, because it might not make sense logically, but like, what do you want to see? What do you want to see in the next couple chapters, like the next X amount of chapters? What do you want to get into or hope that you get clarity on?
The couple things that I really am expecting / hoping for is Vegapunk's actual final words, because Vegapunk isn't dead as far as I'm concerned, because Sanji's still carrying his body. And I think that he's going to die. But he's got some very pivotal information that he needs to articulate to someone, and he's going to basically be awake be there. He might survive this. Who knows? Because who expected Pickle Brain? But it's like there's definitely
no one expects the Pickle Brain.
There's definitely a reason that Vegapunk's body is still there, whether he's alive fully or not. He's got some final things to do as the Stella, as the main core body. So I want the explanation for that. I really do want and hope for the cut to everybody and see how they're reacting to things. Not because of like world lore or anything else, or like somebody dropping some really cool stuff. I want to see Buggy's reaction to this, because this dude has no idea of anything that's going on, and to find out that everything he's ever worked for has amounted to absolutely nothing,
Yeah.
and he's not going to be able to get anything. And now that he's claimed that he's going to be king of the pirates, there's no king of the pirates when there's no planet. He is going to be freaking out, and I really can't wait to see the exaggerated like expressions from him in that. And I'm expecting a lot of great stuff.
All the material, his material life being
I want
shattered
him-
and under the sea.
He's gonna inflate with anxiety and pop, and then we're just gonna see the skinny little man that's been in that giant bag the entire time. But I really do want the. It's going to be probably a lot more somber than I think anybody would really expect when and if Saul is still there, and like. In any, because we don't know what happened to Saul in all those years or anything like that. It might be devastating when we get there and see what Saul has been through.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a lot more somber.
What's
and
left of Saul?
Exactly.
He's alive, but at what cost?
In before whenever we record the
A
next main
tortured Saul.
episode, it's going to
Yeah.
be called Better Call Saul. Anyway.
Oh no.
No,
The-
I think Al's of a tortured Saul is
Tortured Saul is also
pretty
really
solid.
good. We've got hot contenders for an episode that hasn't been recorded, doesn't exist, and we don't even know if it's going to have that chapter in it. But I think those are the three things that I should say those are the things that I'm most expecting and
Okay.
hoping for. While keeping it
Al,
short.
Al, what would you like to see if you could have anything in the next couple chapters, next X whatever? What would you want clarity on, or what would you like to see?
I need to see Water 7 afloat. I need to see the giant city ship that isn't a hot topic. Like
Everybody
sailing through the sea.
smoking with sunglasses on, being like, sounds like a you guys problem. We're good here.
I agree with your earlier sentiment that Frankie showing off finally, because he walked through their whole thing and like, oh, this stuff is all really cool, and they're all like, whatever, dude, and it's like, okay, let me show you the things I built. Like, I want to see him get his comeuppance of like being an engineer in this world. So like the payoff of doing all this work. So maybe they collaborate. Maybe he gets a new radical beam. Who knows?
It's super radical from the past, but also the future beam.
I want it.
Mark, what would you want to see?
It's hard. Like even listening to all of y'all's ideas, of course. I mean, yes, I want to see all of that, but it's
Buccaneer lore, maybe?
I don't think we'd get it yet. That might be something we get from.
It's not about
Elbaf.
what will actually happen. It's about what
Sure.
you
Yeah,
want to
it's what
see.
what do you want?
What do you want?
What do you
What do you
want,
want?
Mac?
What do you
Like,
want?
So here's like the problem is the past couple of years has been that screenshot from that one show of damn One Piece was good this week. So it's like I'm very much in a surprise me mindset of like I whatever's coming next is going to be phenomenal. And I want to see, if anything, I want to see another resolution of something, whatever that is. But I honestly think Elbaf is going to be a bit of a, with this most recent revelation, I think we're going to barely see Elbaf. I don't think we're going to see a lot of it. But
We're gonna run through and grab supplies and run out the other side.
essentially, that's like we're on a ticking clock now. We've got stuff to do. We've got places to be.
We do. We have a world to save.
I imagine the giants could also just jump, like, we'll follow you guys. Like, well, if you're going to the One Piece and you're calling your fleet together, we'll come join you in the fight, kind of thing.
But also, since the giants are based off of the Vikings, which is also seafaring, what better group of people to have ships upon ships upon ships to help average-sized humans escape and survive the terror of... I think they're immediately going to sound the horn, send the ships out, and collect as many people as they can and save as many people as they can until the storm passes, so to speak. But in terms of what I want to see,
Yeah.
more,
More.
truly,
More
like
what?
I can't be
more-
specific because
More
like
lore? You just want more info?
just in general, it's so good right now. Anytime the chapter ends, it's like I have to wait a week. This sucks.
Welcome to week, Caden.
Exactly. Just give me another one.
This
I'm ready
is
for
fine
another
for me.
one right now.
This is fine for me. I'm reading like 7 other manga at this exact same
Whoa.
time. So,
Big
like,
shout
brag
over
about it.
here.
yeah,
Big shout
I
over
am
here.
bragging about it right now. Like, there's a lot of good stuff that I'd love to recommend, and maybe that's a spin-off thing. That's like, what else are you reading? Is another show that we could do.
Well, no, we did that in the question and answer at the end of last
Yeah,
year.
but I mean, like, I read a lot of things, my dude. In between chapters of One Piece, I've read entire series in between podcast episodes. So, like, I could recommend stuff for
Silly.
days. I just got caught up on Witch Hat Atelier, and frickin' Molly and I both love that series.
Yeah, I gotta catch
Oh,
up
I
on
have-
that.
I
I
got
caught
the
up
first 2
on
books.
Skip to Loafer today.
I'm a couple chapters behind. I really need to catch up.
I was sad to see that there was only one. Actually, no, I caught up on Skip to Loafer and My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia is crazy right now.
Yeah, my condolences. Oh, I'm happy for you, or my condolences. I'm not reading all that.
No, I was into it. There was a huge lore thing that happened where I was like, what do you mean? That's insane. Taking away someone's entire agency. Oh my God. And then I caught up to
Well,
Skip
that
to
sounds
Loafer, and I
fun.
was sad that there was only one chapter. I was
Molly,
like, oh, man.
remind me to toss a couple things your way, because if you've been there's some things that
don't
you
need
could-
things to read. I honestly don't need anything to read. I have a fat stack of library books that I like purposely. So I have to sit and finish, but I had time to kill before this, so I was like, yeah, I'll see what's going on in here.
Murder.
But I will say before we wrap everything up, I want to see Marco. I want to
Yeah,
see what's going on.
I mean-
I want.
Surprise.
I expect
I think-
this is
everybody
where we
be
were.
freaking surprised.
I know you guys all thought I'd said Garp, but I said
Shocked Pikachu face.
No. We heard you say Marco.
Marco.
we definitely
But-
knew you were going to say Marco.
But it's like in the long list of all the lore that needs to be tied up. They started that thread of thought, and we do know that Stussy is like, you don't believe me? Like, I'll go to the man who did it himself, Vegapunk. And so I'm just like, I know that he's coming back right away, or like to a
That's-
degree.
Really stuck in your brain because you've brought
It's-
it up many times.
But it's stuck in my brain because if we get that, I feel like we'll get other 3 threads that are outstanding right now. Like, we talked about it.
Standing threads.
I think the non-recorded Yayo meeting we had. I remember I was talking to Mark about something recently. I don't know if we were just like when you were doing
The meeting I
Minecraft
was
stuff
late
the other
to?
day, but I'm like, I threw an idea at you that we never got confirmed of, like, was Whitebeard a Buccaneer? And because, you know, Kuma, quote unquote, is forever dead now or whatever, supposedly the line of the Buccaneers is now dead. And that them saying that in this moment would make sense because, like, Whitebeard died 2 years ago. So that doesn't necessarily say that he isn't a Buccaneer. It just says that, quote unquote, all of the Buccaneers are dead now. Even though we know we have outliers in terms of, like, the Lunarians with what's his face.
King is supposedly the last Lunarian.
Yeah, allegedly. But it's like we have all these alleged last races, outstanding people or whatever. So I'm like, if we get the Stussy lore about Whitebeard Jr., we find out that that was like the beginning of the clone stuff with Vegapunk. And then that begins an experiment of it's honestly, you know what the thread is that's driving me nuts, that I want to know how deep it goes, is the what are they called? The little kid clones, the Seraphims.
The Seraphim, yeah.
Like, how deep does that thread go? Whose DNA do they have? Right?
It's true.
It's
Whose
like
DNA don't they have is actually probably a more important question. It's like if they've gotten anybody, if you work for them, they have. If you've worked for them for a second, they've got your DNA. Basically, is what it seems
but
like.
it's not even working for them. We've never truly seen prisoners get fully sorted into prison. Like, is there a step, like when they do the fingerprints, like do they also take a thing of DNA from you? And it's like, to what extent of that? Because it's obvious that like Whitebeard Jr. is not from the government side of cloning. That like must have been like a Stussy getting, a favor out of Vegapunk thing or
Sure.
whatever, or whatever the lore we get out of it. This is my theory. But that being said, it's like, let's say everyone who's worked for the Marines or gets captured by the Marines gets their DNA taken. Okay, let's just say that as like a base theory.
Everybody's getting swabbed.
That would mean, depending on when this stuff rolled out, they could have Goldie Rogers' DNA. They could have Ace's DNA. It's like there's a crazy like. I mean, like, we've only seen a couple of the Warlord Seraphims, but that's not to say that there could also be a Crocodile Seraphim out there. You know what I mean? It's like, or Moria, or Doflamingo. Like, we're missing some of that. And Crocodile and Doflamingo, we know for sure have been imprisoned by the government. Moria, I think, fast and loose out on the streets, could be with Blackbeard right now.
But they were also Shichibukai and could have given their blood regardless.
And I'm just, as like a final thought on that, I just like, if we get the Marco stuff, it'll lead into all this other stuff. And my last thought is that I know it's not a popular theory. I know Caden doesn't necessarily not condone to it, but like, I don't know if Caden necessarily subscribes to it. But I feel like if there is a Croco Seraphim out there, I think it's interesting that we haven't seen them yet, because it could confirm, if this is, depending on the DNA or whatever, could be them in their original form if they, let's say, transitioned. You know what I mean?
We've seen young Crocodile, but it is inconclusive. They're not leaning one way gender-wise.
It's very androgynous to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna respectfully disagree. And like we've seen what, Moria, we've seen Doflamingo.
We've seen them all as children.
We've seen them all as children. Like, it just looks like, I mean, it doesn't really look any different than
looks like
Mihawk's. Just looks like very much like, doesn't really look that different than Mihawk. I'll be really honest. Like, if you take a look at, you really want to take a look at it, you take a look at Snake, Hawk, and Crocodile. Hawk and Crocodile have way more visual and like facial structure similarities than Snake. So,
wait, who's Snake?
Like Boa Hancock.
Oh, Boa. Okay, yeah, sorry. I was thinking of the
Boa?
video game guy. I was like, huh?
Little tiny baby Boa.
Snake
Yeah,
was
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Baby Mihawk, baby Boa, baby Mihawk, and baby Crocodile. Like,
Escape
Crocodile
from New York.
legitimately does, like, Crocodile legitimately does not look much different at all than Mihawk. Like, taking a look at the face structure and everything like that, it doesn't look like how do I put this? Does not look like an Oda drawn younger girl character. So like, I definitely do not subscribe to it, and I'm definitely on the I'm trying to actively debunk it thing. That doesn't necessarily mean it's not true, but taking a look at what evidence we have in front of us, I don't think so. I think it's I think everybody's grasping at the wrong straws, and Oda's just like,
Okay, well, here's another straw then, because let's say we haven't seen them yet, not because of a gender thing.
but we have seen them.
Okay, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Seraphim. Like,
No, yeah,
we haven't seen
we have.
the Crocodile Seraphim?
Yes.
When?
And Moria and Doflamingo.
Where? I need to see an image of this.
Okay, hold on. All right.
Mark and Al, can you confirm that?
Really quickly, Molly, I have a real answer for you.
What's
for
the
what
real answer?
for what I want to see.
Okay.
Because we've seen a bit of it with their reaction to the news story, but I want to see how Big News Morgans reacts to this headline.
Oh fuck yeah.
I want him to
Kane, you
because
fucked me up here. Just keep going, Sarah. Keep going, Mark.
that's two more, Molly. Come on, we're about
Oh,
to
sorry,
end.
sorry. I'm in the podcast or the I'm in the D&D zone. Sorry.
I wanted to see what happened to. I was like, what's going on with Vivi right now? What's going on with Walpole right now? We saw a little bit of Morgan's, but he's being upstaged by news, and will he retaliate from a newsman's perspective and throw out something else?
Maybe
Will Morgan's be the one to break the news that there is a king of the world?
it would be. I was gonna say it'd be prudent of him to go where the news is starting instead of like sitting back on his haunches and waiting for the news to come to him. It would make sense if he started following the Straw Hats around to be where the news, like where the news begins or whatever. That would make sense to me. So
Would it
seeing,
be haunches or would it be thighs? He's a bird. What would it?
All right,
I don't leg and tell, Al. Okay,
the Crispies.
can call them whatever
Crispies
they want.
Sitting on his Crispies.
So then I will say, with the evidence Caden just put in front of me,
All three of us.
that I think
There's so many images of the seraphim.
So many.
this does, like, I think debunk one of the things I wanted to say of like the second straw I was thinking of like assuming that we hadn't seen a seraphim crocodile before, because there's another theory that it's the thing that Ivankov was alluding to is not a gender thing, but that, let's say, crocodile, it's not crocodile, it's croc-di-ile, that he is a member of the D lineage. And so then my thought was like, well, have we seen anybody with the D lineage be cloned, and can they? But if that isn't that theory, then seeing crocodile cloned here, probably not. But
doesn't he look? Doesn't he look at baby Mihawk? Look at baby crocodile. Like, look at that. One is just angry, the other one is
they're
sad.
the drama faces. The drama. Well, no, the drama faces are happy and sad. This is sad and
This is just
mad.
angry, mad, and sad.
Sad and mad.
Those are the real drama phases for theater kids out there.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, I think the reason, not just because I want to see I want to see Marco, but I'm also a little worried.
The truth
as much as I
comes
want,
out.
as much as I want to see Marco,
Shock.
I want this to be, instead of the One Piece, it's the Marco show. I do feel
Again, not
like there's a
different theme
level.
song.
There's a level of the old guard I feel like will die with whatever, and to some capacity of this new world ideal. Garps and Goku, I feel like a lot, and like Marco is in that old world mentality. Shanks, like possibly Buggy. Like I do
killing
worry a
Whitebeard
little
again?
bit. I'm a little worried that it's just like the old guard, quote unquote,
I'm
will
glad you didn't worry.
die. Will die. Al, shut up. We're trying to wrap this thing. Will die. To a capacity. I want to see Marco. I'm scared for Marco to come back. I don't
Yeah, it's
want
true.
it to be like, here's Marco, and then a gun appears on screen, and be like, no, a sea stone bullet. No, don't do it, Mr. President, get down. But I feel like if and when this happens, I think that thread will lead to another thread, will lead to another thread, will lead to the long list of threads that we have questions about right now. Also, I just want to see Marco again.
Yeah.
I didn't think we'd see Marco again so soon, and he specifically put in like a couple panels being like, hey, he's coming back. And I was like, okay, I didn't know I was gonna have to. The last time, Caden, I had to wait for Marco was for 10 years, okay?
I'm sorry.
I saw him for Marineford, and then
And
we
it's your
saw
fault,
the ramp
Caden.
up. We saw the ramp up after Zoe, and that was the first time in like 10 years I saw my favorite again. So that's why I get mad at you for not mentioning him. All right, you don't
Okay, well-
understand the privilege
Okay, well,
of seeing him, the Marco privilege, the Marco tax. Yeah, and that's it. And I'm worried. No, it'll be
I kinda want
funny
the
if
episode to end right there. Just
no,
And that's it.
and that's it. Hard cut. Yeah, it will be funny if whatever we talked about today does get answered. Like, this comes out on a Friday, so the chapter will have
We'll
dropped.
find out this weekend.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what we got right or wrong. I hope I was right.
It's like a prelude episode. It's like a
A
filler. Hey, what's
Anyway.
Uta up to?
Anyway, here's what Hachi is up to, and it's just him selling takoyaki. It's like literally them being like, the ocean is rising. It's like, and it's like cut to somebody who, like, it doesn't matter if the ocean rises. It's like, good day to sell takoyaki. Good thing I don't own a radio.
Gomon upgraded from a treasure chest to a tiny boat.
Oh man.
Oh man.
So yeah, I have more things we could talk about, but you guys want to stop, so I think we should
Yeah,
just.
Molly, we gotta save it for later, Molly.
But I want to
This-
be right.
this is a
If I talk about it
series,
now, if I talk about it right now, and then I called it for the next chapter, I'm
Okay,
gonna look
that's
really
true.
cool.
That's
We
true.
can't have one 48-hour episode.
I'm
Unless-
just
We
thinking.
could, but I need to edit it.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
just,
that's fair.
Yeah, I'm sorry I swore, but I'm just thinking about that robot. who's
Molly,
like,
I've got
I'm sorry,
1,
Joy
2,
Boy.
3,
Diddly doesn't
4,
care.
5, 6.
I try to whisper some of them, but you obviously
can't
heard
do
them.
that. Then I can't censor them.
Molly!
Unless
you
they're quiet enough that people can't hear them.
Molly, that's not how this. Oh
That's
my
not
god.
how censorship works.
Is this
No,
how
but
you've
it's-
been doing things the whole time? Just say it with
No.
your chest so it's easier to censor.
No,
God.
I just assumed because you're already doing the room tone that if I say it quiet enough, it'll just get deleted out
No,
with the
it
room
actually-
tone.
Is your
It
is your
actually-
room whispering swears?
Yeah,
Molly,
always.
it actually
Marco
makes
in the
it
background.
harder because it emphasizes it more.
Well, then it'll be easier for him to catch it.
No, it's not how. No.
Technically, it'll be easier for me to catch it because I'll have to do quality control. this
Well,
week anyway.
much like how most arcs and sagas have ended, this concludes yet another episode
I
of
didn't say dick.
of Port Predictions, a Yayo Talk Show affiliated podcast subsidiary.
Allegedly.
Hey, would
LLC.
you guys
Not
like
really,
to?
though.
Would you get not maybe?
No, we're not.
Maybe,
We're not an
but
LLC.
yet.
We're not. We
Yeah,
are not.
but maybe.
For legal purposes, Yayo Talk Show is not an LLC.
Unless. Anyway, hey Mark, would you like to tell everybody where they can or cannot find you?
You can find me on patreon.com/Yayo Talk Show.
Good answer.
Wow.
If you wanna support the show, we just launched a new Patreon. We're putting out exclusive art. We're putting out exclusive post shows for the D&D, if you want to see more of a particular type of program that takes a little bit more production on our end, the best way to do that is to support us via Patreon or on Twitch, or through yayotalkshowstore.com, because we can then divert more time and resources to that, and that's kind of the easiest way to do it. But also, don't worry if you can't. It's absolutely fine. If you want to just see like the basic art of it, we have a $1 tier. We have a $3 tier. We have a $5 tier. The most that we offer is a $10 tier. We haven't talked about the tiers, so we'll talk about those really quick. So $1 is just a thank you. We appreciate you. We love you. $3 tier is for these standard releases of Yayo Talk Show. You get them early. How early will be indicative of the episode in question, but early. You'll get them early is the thing that we settled on. For $5, you get access to the Larshi Rolls post show as well as getting these episodes early. And then for $10, you get access to our Minecraft server, which we're still sorting out. Thank you for your patience for the couple of people that were very gracious to subscribe to that tier. We love you very much, as well as all previous tiers. So that's what we're offering on Patreon. We have a lot. There's a lot of art coming. Like, truly. Al and Molly have been working their asses off, and we love them and we appreciate them. Even just sketches that Molly did during us recording There She Rolls, phenomenal. Amazing character stuff that helps you put your head into the world that we've been creating with our wonderful friend Julian, who is our log keeper for There She Rolls. Yeah, other than that, I'm not posting that much really anywhere. I guess Instagram stories is kind of the place where I'm posting the most. So, but you can find me anywhere at Mark B. Donica. If you want to keep an eye on what I'm up to. Thanks, Caden.
Al.
Subscribe to the Molly tier on the Patreon for those 3 a.m. text messages. You up? Do you think Oda will draw Carbot? Anyway, here's another theory. It's 4 in the morning. It's
Al,
like, Molly, go to bed.
Al, do you want to tell them where they can find you?
Sure. You can find me online basically everywhere at Al McClelland Jr. ALMCCLELLANDJR. I'm mostly on TikTok reposting until it, I guess, goes away. We'll see. Yeah, good luck.
You can find
Just
me
generally.
You can find me on Twitch and Tumblr and Blue Sky. Caden Jensen, pretty much everywhere. Caden VT on TikTok for clips. Winter Werewolf VTuber on YouTube. I have VODs for all of my streams and stuff. And Real Caden Jensen for anything that's voice acting related on TikTok. And yeah, please come hang out in the streams. We have a cool Discord where we also talk about Yayo Talk Show stuff, and you can get that by coming to my streams and going and joining us on adventures. Molly, take us home. Where can they find you, or maybe not?
You can find me on Tumblr. You can find me. Oh, I haven't done this in a while. You can find me on Tumblr at Molly Flood, Molly K Flood, depending on what you're looking for. I stream now on Twitch, so you can follow me at Molly Flood on Twitch to watch me stream some stuff.
Yeah.
Blue Sky, Molly Flood. My brain just shut down. I think that's
The
everything.
end.
I think
And
yeah.
that's the end of the episode.
Hooray.
Ba-da-ba. Oh, much like how most arcs and sagas end, we're all caught up, so please also get caught up. We love you. That's it.
And that's
Go home.
it. That's
Like,
it.
what do you want from me?
Get out of
Next.
here.
You can't
Go
spoil
home.
anything for me anymore. The episode's
can't-
over.
You can't
Who do you
stay.
think you
You don't have to
are?
go home, but you can't stay here.
Get outta here.
Are you guys sticking around for like a post-credit scene? You think we're teasing up something?
No,
Well,
you have
guess
to pay
what?
for that.
In the next episode, we're gonna have Cable.
And then
Next
I'm
episode
gonna
is
say
He
dick.
time travels, and he's got a really cool gun. And anyway, see you next time. Whatever. Bye. Get outta
Kane's
here.
game show's next. Bye.
It's
Unless
not
it's
true.
not.
Don't say that. It's not true. It's not
I want
true.
it
We're
to
gonna
be.
record it next, but we don't know when we're gonna release it.
Okay, bye. I love you.
Jesus Christ.
Talking about
One Piece.